Go to Boinville. 2 is Sizing Cadelco for Robbie Power, who's had a wind operation since its last run. 3 Yala, Enki, Charlie Deutsch. 4 Shantou Flyer, James Bowen claiming 3, and 5 007, Aidan Coleman. 6 Vicente, Sam Twiston Davis, and 7 Beware the Bear for Jerry McGrath. 8 is Wakanda for Sean Quinlan. 9 Singlefarmpayment. Adrian Heskin looking for a Tom George double. 10 is Ramses de Teillee for Tom Scudamore. 11 is Knight of Noir, Nick Schofield, first start for trainer Michael Blake. 12 Kustar Sivola, Lizzie Kelly claims 3. And 13 Vintage Clouds, Danny Cook. 14 Victor Tuzane for Brian Cooper, Venetia Williams and Ed Chamberlain. 15 Manila Daddy, Sean Bowen. 16 Castet, Josh Moore. 17 Cogry, Jamie Bargery claiming 3. 18 Eamon Enoch, the second pipe runner, partnered by David Noonan. So this time it is very open indeed. After the hot spots in the first 2 races, far better odds on offer for every single horse here. They've moved this start in recent years. It's now on a little spur with the outside running rail made up of the tape. They're immediately onto the course proper, but for the first time just a few of these riders looking as if they want to be handy here in this handicap. Echo mixed thoughts about the inside strip. Definitely about 4 or 5 horse widths the entire way round. Once they've chewed it up in this race, it'll be rather different. But they break away then for this Ultima handicap chase. Vintage Clouds is one of the first to show in company with Cogry and Shantou Flyer. They're immediately onto the racecourse proper, immediately heading towards the first. Eamon Enoch with Vicente also racing in handy positions from Beware the Bear as they rise at fence number 1. They're all over it. Castet at the back of the field. Knight of Noir was just ridden away from that fence after taking it a little slowly. The early pace is pretty fast and furious, and we've already taken the second. Vintage Clouds on the inside of Yala Enki, who got a little bit warm beforehand as they turn away. Racing on towards the third, Shantou Flyer, Kustar Sivola, Beware the Bear, and Eamon Enoch. Wakanda on the outside of Cogry. Vicente in midfield with Singlefarmpayment, Manila Daddy, then Ramses de Teillee, who's racing on the inside of Sizing Cadelco. Gold presence about 3 or 4 from the back as they rise at the fence away from the stands, which Yala Enki was a little slow. Victor Tuzane and Knight of Noir is last of all. So now a chance to gather their thoughts as they turn down this line of fences, starting with another plain one. And out in front is Vintage Clouds from Yala Enki in second. Shantou Flyer, Kustar Sivola, Beware the Bear and Cogry giving chase. Wakanda's also in that little cluster, along with Eamon Enoch as they rise at the first, moving away from the stands. And again, the whole field rover. Vicente hasn't jumped too well. He's slow at a couple of the fences as they head on towards the water jump for the first time. So a long way to go here in the Ultima. And out in front, stepping over it, Vintage Clouds, and again the whole field are over. Yala Enki in second, Kustar Sivola on the outside of Shantou Flyer, and Cogry more towards the inside. Sizing Cadelco, Beware the Bear, then Vicente, Wakanda and Ramses de Teillee with Singlefarmpayment as they rise at an open ditch, at which Manila Daddy made a slight mistake. Victor Tuzane, Castet and Knight of Noir still towards the back. Knight of Noir is the only one that's really toiled as they head towards another plain one, still moving away from the stands. So still a long way to go, and again the whole field are over safely. So out in front it is Vintage Clouds the grey on the inside of Yala Enki as they turn up towards the open ditch. Kustar Sivola on the outside of Shantou Flyer, Cogry, and travelling strongly Eamon Enoch dispute 5th place. Sizing Cadelco, Wakanda, Ramses de Teillee and Singlefarmpayment with Vicente as they rise at the ditch. Then behind these 007 on the outside of Manila Daddy, Gold present, and still towards the rear Castet, Victor Tuzane and Knight of Noir. But unlike our first couple of races, the field far more compact, and this has just been an even gallop to this point, and it's been set by Vintage Clouds and Danny Cook and Yala Enki up on the outside for Charlie Deutsch. So now they run downhill towards this fence that's taken in about 100 yards or so time, plateaus, and will be the third last in a circuit's time. Kustar Sivola in the blue colours, Lizzie Kelly chilling in 3rd place on the outside of Shantou Flyer. Then behind these Eamon Enoch as they race on towards the fence that is 12 from the finish. Again, the whole field are over without any obvious mishap. So out in front, Yala Enki and Vintage Clouds, they show the way. Kustar Sivola, Cogry on their heels in the red colours, Shantou Flyer moving up the inside, and Eamon Enoch. Then just behind these we have the likes of Singlefarmpayment, Beware the Bear, Ramses de Teillee on the inside of Sizing Cadelco. Vicente is the one widest of all in the noseband as they turn back towards home. Castet from Gold present 007. Now back in touch is Knight of Noir, having pushed along early, and Victor Tuzane is last of all. But at this stage they're all travelling pretty well within themselves as they reach the first up the home straight, and again they're all over. So out in front on the short run to the next, Vintage Clouds, Yala Enki, been joined by Eamon Enoch, who moves through pretty threatening lead, now moves just about alongside the front two, travelled strongly throughout so far. Turning away, Q-Star, Sivola and Shantou Flyer racing 4th and 5th, Beware the Bears on the inside of Sizing Cadelco, then Singlefarmpayment. Wakanda on the inner of Ramses de Teillee, then Manila Daddy. Vicente just being pushed along to hold the position as they prepare to take 9 from the finish, and this is the fence moving away from those packed grandstands. Singlefarmpayment made a mistake there. Vicente again also made an error and is driven along Vicente in order to keep in touch, and he is struggling. Gold Present still towards the back in company with Knight of Noir and Victor Tuzain. So Gray's bookend the field. Out in front it remains Vintage Clouds, who shows the way with Yala, Enki, Eamon and Knocker. Flying leap up on the outside. Behind these Shantou Flyer, Sizing Cadelco making progress. Then Ramses de Teillee also making some progress. The Grey into about 6th or 7th with Cogry, Singlefarmpayment, 007 and Gold Present. The Henderson pair also making some headway as they step over the water. At the back, Vicente, Wakanda, Knight of Noir have been passed by Victor Tuzain as they make their progress towards 6 from the finish. So Eamon and Knock up on the outside, continuing to jump very fluently indeed. He's fast over that Singlefarmpayment and Vicente. Once again, the pair who made errors there. It's the second significant one for Singlefarmpayment. Eamon and Knock still tanking along, heads towards the plain fence 5 from the finish. From in second place, Q-Star Sivola, who jumped up well. 007 made a mistake. Vicente virtually stopped to a walk there, as now the wheat's being separated from the chaff as they head towards the 4th last. Eamon and Knock out in front for David Pike. Q-Star Sivola has moved through into second. Vintage Clouds is being ridden along. Then Yala, Enki, Shantou Flyer. Ramses de Teillee comes next with Castet, who's made good progress. Gold Present is another, as these bunch of 8 from Singlefarmpayment. 007, Manila Daddy, Sizing Cadelco's lost a lot of ground, and running downhill it's David Noonan and Eamon Knock, who continues to travel powerfully. Q-Star Sivola in second. Shantou Flyer is into 3rd place. Then behind these Vintage Dreams, Castet has made good progress into 5th. Ramses de Teillee comes next with Yala, Enki. Singlefarmpayment, to his credit, after 2 serious errors, is still trying to get back into this. And then Gold Present heading towards the 3rd last. Eamon and Knock out in front from Q-Star Sivola. Shantou Flyer then in 4th place is Castet, as Eamon and Knock is now down on his nose. They begin to turn back towards the 2nd last, and Q-Star Sivola from Eamon and Knock, who's rallied into 2nd place. Shantou Flyer comes next. Castet, Ramses de Teillee has moved into 5th place, with on the outside Vintage Clouds, and then behind these Singlefarmpayment, Q-Star Sivola has gone to the front for Lizzie Kelly. Eamon and Knock in 2nd. Shantou Flyer is in 3rd. Rallying most bravely is Vintage Clouds, the Grey. Singlefarmpayment's run a mighty race. Then Castet over the 2 from the finish. It's Q-Star Sivola who is out in front. Q-Star Sivola showing the way from Shantou Flyer in 2nd. Then Vintage Clouds at the last. It's Q-Star Sivola who is over well. Shantou Flyer in 2nd. Q-Star Sivola setting off up the hill with a 3 to 4 length advantage. But now it's the horse that's chilling. He's idling in front, and Shantou Flyer is conjuring an up effort on the far side. Q-Star Sivola trying to rally once joined. Q-Star Sivola, Shantou Flyer dying. Q-Star Sivola is home in front for Lizzie Kelly to win the Ultima. Shantou Flyer 2nd, 3rd for Vintage Clouds, Beware the Bear, Singlefarmpayment, Yala, Enki, Ramses de Teillee, Castet, Eamon and Knock ran well for a long way. 007, Cogry next, and Manila Daddy. They are the only ones to finish.